pain, restriction, weakness, lack of mobility, if you're struggling with any of these things in the neck and upper back area, chances are this is either going to be significantly affecting your golf or your day-to-day health, well-being and enjoyment of life. So if that is you and you are struggling with any issues in the neck, upper back area and you're a golfer, this video is for you. So the first thing to note is that the neck and the upper back area is really important for the golf swing. We don't think about the neck as needing to rotate that much, but when we think that if we're going to maintain a head down position, eyes over the ball, then actually the ability to rotate our shoulders and maintain in this position of actually being able to keep our eyes on the ball is actually creating quite a lot of neck rotation. So if you are struggling with a lack of mobility or restriction in the neck area, then chances are that is affecting your mechanics in the golf swing. Even if it's not a lack of mobility that's going on the neck and it's actually pain or restriction, then that will also affect your way that your body moves. Your body will avoid aggravating that pain or initiating that pain, and that will then affect the way that you move in day-to-day life and also in the golf swing. So today in this video, I'm going to show you a test you can do to measure the amount of rotation that you have in the neck. Then we're going to go through some exercises to improve that mobility. And we're also going to talk about what to do if you have enough mobility but you're struggling with some pain in that area. I'm going to show you some exercises you can do to relieve that tension, release that pain, and hopefully allow you to swing the golf club to your best ability. So the test that we can do for the rotation of the neck is actually a very, very simple one. It's something you can do at home. All I recommend is you get someone either to do this test on you, or you just film yourself with the camera to make sure that you're doing a fair test. And simply what we're looking at is the amount of rotation that we have both to the left and to the right. And there's a really quick way that we can measure that. So if I turn to the side of the camera here, if I now rotate to my left, I should be able to get my chin in line with my collarbone. And your collarbone obviously is going to be kind of just in front of the shoulder joint itself. So from here, I should be able to just rotate my head all the way to the left, and I should be able to get my chin in line with my collarbone, and I should even be able to touch my chin down and touch onto my collarbone. Same on the right side, I should be able to turn my head all the way to the right, and I should be able to touch chin in line with collarbone. If you're struggling with restriction one way or the other, or if you have a severe lack of movement one side compared to the other side, or if you have any pain or sensations as you perform that test, stay watching this video, because now I'm going to take you through 3 main exercises that I like to prescribe to golfers that either fail that test or have pain following that test. So for exercise 1, I'm simply going to take my neck through all the range of motion, all the movements that it should be able to perform. And our neck should be able to rotate both directions. It should be able to flex and extend, and it should also have an element of tilt as well. And it should be able to actually do all of these movements simultaneously. So I should be able to tilt both directions. I should also be able to tilt and rotate. And this allows me to move my spine and my neck through all the movements that it should be able to have. And in fact, we should have all of these movements all the way down through the middle part of the spine as well. So what we're going to do for this exercise is take our neck through all of these ranges of motion in a little bit more of a systematic approach. Now, what's really important here is if we do have any pain, we avoid aggravating that pain and we just stay within that less pain area. So for example, if we're going to do some simple turning to the left and turning to the right, if I knew that turning to the right was going to aggravate some pain to me, then I might turn to the left as far as I can go, and then I might just turn to the right to the point of which that pain might start to be aggravated. So I'm just going to say just before that point, and then just keep working through. And what I might find is that after a few repetitions, I might be able to go a little bit further that way without aggravating the pain. What I can also do is then take my head through my tilting movements. And again, the same here. If one way was going to aggravate some pain, then I would just stay short of that movement as I go. And with all these movements, I'm trying to stay nice and neutral through the shoulder as I do this. So I'm trying not to yank shoulders up or pull shoulders forwards if I rotate. I'm trying to keep the shoulders nice and neutral. I'm trying to stay in a really good posture. And I'm just trying to take my neck through all the movements it should be able to do. So I like to do side to side. I like to do tilt, ear down to shoulder. I also like to do up and dropping down. And then I like to create combinations of these movements. So for example, I could tilt and then I could drop down and raise up. I could tilt the other side, I could drop down and I could raise up. I might want to drop down and tilt from side to side. I might want to move from the top and tilt side to side. And I've got options of taking my spine and taking my neck through all of these ranges of motion it should have. It's going to allow me to expose myself to all of these positions. It's going to allow me to free myself up from any static positions, for example, being stuck over a laptop or stuck over a desk. And it's going to help open everything up from a really good posture. And it should just allow me to access all the range of motion that my neck should have. Exercise number 2 is actually fighting against a position that we often find ourselves in throughout the day. So it would be really typical, especially if you work at a desk, spend a lot of time over a computer, or spend a lot of time watching TV. It'd be really typical for us to get into a slouched position with the head dropped forward and then the head looking up. And what this does is it creates a lot of tension into the back of the neck. And also what happens is as we move our head forward, it actually increases the weight of our head, which then creates a lot of strain onto the upper neck muscles to maintain the stability in the neck. So as I move my head forward of spine, I get extra tension, extra weight, and my body has to work super hard to not let my head fall down. So this is putting a lot of stress and a lot of strain on the neck, and it's a common position that we end up in throughout the day. So to fight against this, what we're going to do is an exercise that's going to take us into a really good postural position. I'm going to pull my shoulders back and up. I'm going to sit into a nice tall posture. And I'm actually going to start to work my neck forward, push my chin forward, and then I'm going to work my neck back, pulling my neck back into this strong position. I'm going to push forward and pull back. And what I'm doing here is I'm starting to work on understanding what a normal posture is. So I now have a better understanding of what this normal posture is, but I'm also starting to take my neck through the full range of motion, starting to try and lengthen some of these muscles that get super tight and fatigued up in the back of the skull. And now for a lot of you, this might feel quite uncomfortable. So again, you just want to stay in a range that is completely pain-free for you and just take your body through what range it's comfortable in at the moment. And then obviously we're going to just try and work on increasing that range time over time. For exercise number 3, I'm actually going to use a piece of equipment. I've got a lacrosse ball here. This could be a massage ball or it could be a tennis ball. I'm actually going to use this to provide a little bit of self-massage into the muscles in the upper neck and the muscles that then interact from the spine into the skull. So this lacrosse ball is quite stiff, a massage ball would be even harder, a tennis ball is a lot softer, so I recommend finding a tool that is okay for you. Obviously if we try something a little bit too hard too soon, your body just won't react very well to that and it's not going to get the same effect. So start light maybe with the tennis ball and then build yourself up to a firmer ball like this one, which is a lacrosse ball. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to take this ball, we're going to start into the middle of the skull, into the middle of the base of the skull, and we're basically just going to work in a line from the middle of the skull, following the line of the skull, all the way back round to behind the ear. So obviously a lot of this area can become super tight from the position that we saw with exercise 2, and it can also get super tight from playing a lot of golf or doing a lot of rotation. So we're going to start to put some self-massage into this area and start to change the situation of what's going on in the neck. Really good way to reduce neck pain, but also a great way to improve the mobility of rotation in the neck as well. So we're going to come down to the ground, we're going to take our ball with us, and we're going to place the ball down into the back of the head, into the skull here. And we're just going to relax ourselves down. And what we're going to do is we're just going to gently work this ball side to side, and it should take around 90 seconds for us to move from the middle position all the way to behind the ear. So all I'm doing is working my head sideways, and I'm following the line of my skull as I start to provide a little bit of self-massage into the back of the neck. Now I can spend around 90 seconds or so on each side. If I want to add extra pressure, I can simply just place my hands on top of my head. That's going to provide a little bit of extra pressure for me. And I'm just going to start to work on massaging the areas around the back of the skull. So we can use these 3 exercises along with this test to help us manage our pain and restriction in the upper back and neck area. What I'd recommend you do if you are struggling with pain, I would definitely start with exercise 1, then move on to exercise 2, and then move on to exercise 3. You can do these exercises daily if you are really struggling with pain or restriction, or you can add them into whatever type of mobility, stretching or fitness routine you currently have. Remember, you can come back onto this initial test to measure your progress as you go, and also you can use your pain as a perception for progress as well. If you want to see loads more tests, exercises, mobility videos, you can get all access to these via the MacroGolf app by heading to macrogolfonline.co.uk or using the link in the description below. If you enjoyed that video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, that really helps me out. Also click a like as well and share this video with anyone that is struggling with neck pain or restriction.